Hello children, let me welcome you to the virtual training center of the Brihan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika. My name is Shraddha Teacher. Children, we are in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, isn't it? Because of that, we are not able to go to school, but that doesn't mean that we are going to stop learning. We are going to meet here regularly through the virtual training center to learn many lessons in EVS. So come on, let's go to a lesson in EVS. So children, come on, let us start with a new lesson in standard 4th, EVS 2. So as we all know, what are we learning about in EVS 2? We are learning about the life and time of Shivaji Maharaj. And we all know that the name of our textbook is Shiva Chhatrapati. And till now, we have learned 6 lessons about Shivaji Maharaj. We have talked about the way Maharashtra was before Shivaji Maharaj was born. Then we talked about the work of saints in Maharashtra. We also talked about the Maratha Sardars, about Shivaji's childhood, Shivaji's education, and recently in the previous lesson, we talked about how Shivaji Maharaj took the oath of Swaraj. Today let us proceed and go to the next lesson. That is, we will be doing lesson number 7, Swaraj, first conquest. So conquest means win. Alright, now we know that Shivaji Maharaj decided that there's going to be Swaraj in Maharashtra, and we also saw that Shivaji and his comrades, they took the oath of Swaraj in the temple of Raireshwar in the presence of Lord Shiva. Okay, and now they had to start working. So just deciding that we will be establishing Swaraj is not good enough. It will not be enough for establishment of Swaraj. So you will have to start working also towards it. Okay, so we saw that in the last time, in the last lesson we saw Shivaji Maharaj, what did he do? He started preparing. He started making preparations. Okay, he took training. He started training his people also, and he taught them how to move around and how to ride horses, how to explore the secret paths in the hills. Okay, and then he also made friends with the Mawals and those people who were not ready to get friendly with him, he tried to use other methods in order to convince them. Finally, we also saw that now Shivaji also had a royal seal of his own, and he was administering the Swaraj or his Jagir in the name of Shivaji Maharaj. Shahaji Maharaj had given him this right. Okay, and therefore Shahaji Raje had given him a special seal also. And the seal had said that this seal will grow in splendor like the new moon. That means now Shivaji Maharaj's life and the goodness of Shivaji Maharaj, the valor of Shivaji Maharaj was going to grow every day like the new moon grows and becomes the full moon. Okay, so this is how he started working towards establishment of Swaraj. And then let us now see how he what about the first conquest, that is, what was the first step that he took towards establishing Swaraj. Okay, now it was a very difficult task for him. Remember, establishment of Swaraj was not a very easy task for him. It was extremely difficult. Why? Because in those days Maharashtra was governed by 4 different powers. So it was not just one person that Shivaji Maharaj had to defeat, but Maharashtra was governed by 4 different people, you can say. So there was the Mughal emperor from Delhi, there was Sultan Adil Shah of Bijapur, then there was the Portuguese from Goa, okay, and finally there was the Siddhis of Janjira. So all these people, they were already present in Maharashtra. So these people had to be brought under Shivaji's rule, or Shivaji Maharaj would have had to drive these people away in order to establish Swaraj. So you can see that it was not an easy job. It was not an easy job not only because there were so many opponents, but also because these were powerful opponents. They were very firm in their authority, and they ruled with an iron hand. No one would dare to utter a word against them. That was a kind of terror that they had created in the mind of the people. So it was under these very, very difficult situations that Shivaji Maharaj thought that now he will try and establish Swaraj in Maharashtra. Now there was no comparison between the vast forces of the enemy and a handful of Shivaji's Mavlas. So Shivaji Maharaj had with him a handful of Mavlas. Okay, he was just trying to garner support. He was still convincing people. Some of them were with him, some of them were against him, but he did not have a ready-made huge army like these people had, like the Mughal emperor or the Sultan Adil Shah or the Portuguese or the Siddhis. They had huge armies. Okay, so their armies were also not a match. But Shivaji Maharaj had made up his mind, even in those difficult situations. He had made up his mind and he had a very firm resolve. And he knew that anyhow he is going to establish Swaraj in Maharashtra. Okay, and his resolve, that is this kind of strength that he had, that was a very, very important thing in him. That was a thing which made him work, which made him fight. Okay, now let us talk about the conquests. That is how Shivaji Maharaj started putting baby steps towards establishing Swaraj. So the very first thing was he tried to bring, and he successfully brought, the Torna fort under his control. Okay, so this is a picture of the Torna fort. Now, Shivaji Maharaj controlled the Jagirs of, you can see Pune, see you have Pune here, then Supe, okay, Chakan. These are all places which are close to Pune, and Indapur. Okay, so you have Chakan there and Indapur. So these were the places which were part of Shivaji's Jagir. Now all the forts in the Jagir were, so you can see many forts also around. Okay, see these are the places where Shivaji's Jagir was there, and there were some forts also in the Jagir. So which were the forts? Let's see. So there was Kondana, there was Torna, and there was Murungdev. So these were the forts which were there in Shivaji's Jagir. But all these forts which were in Shivaji's Jagir were in charge of officers from the court of Bijapur. That is, all these places belonged to the Adil Shah of Bijapur, and his officers were taking care of all these places. So it was very important. Shivaji understood that the person who controlled the forts will also control the surrounding territory. Okay, so all the forts in the Jagir were in the charge of the officers of Bijapur, and he who controlled the forts would also control the surrounding territory. This is what Shivaji Maharaj understood and realized very soon. And he also realized that all talk of Swaraj without the control of the forts was meaningless. So if you wanted to establish Swaraj, you have to first take these forts under your control. So this was the first lesson that Shivaji Maharaj learned. That is, somehow, in one way or the other, I have to take control of all these forts. Okay, so he had to start with any one fort in particular. That is why he started with the Torna fort. Now, a hill fort, now forts which are there on the hills, they give strategic support to the ruler. How? Because you can sit on top of the fort and you can control, you can see the entire territory which is around, isn't it? So Shivaji Maharaj realized this also, and he also wanted to capture one hill fort, a fort which is on top of a hill and also which has got a very, very strategic location, and because of which he will be able to keep an eye on all the surrounding territories. And for this purpose he selected the fort of Torna. So that is why Shivaji Maharaj selected this fort. So you can see how this fort is placed. It is on top of a hill, and if you stand on top of the fort, you will be able to see everything around the fort for a long way. Very long distances you will be able to see. Okay, and that is why he selected the Torna fort. Now this fort, it stands in the southwest of Pune in the Kannad Valley. Now there is a valley called as Kannad Valley. So this particular fort, it stands there. it was a renowned fort. Renowned means very well famous fort, and it was well suited for defense. That is, the enemy will not be able to reach on top only, but because before it reaches on top, you will be able to shoot them down. Alright, so it was a very, very famous fort. And now there were two strong machis on the way to the fort. Now, what are machis? So, a machi is a fortification of a natural plateau formed on the slope of a hill. So, actually, a machi is nothing but a slope. But this slope, it is a natural thing, isn't it? A slope is a natural geographical feature. But this slope has been fortified. That means there has been small compound type which has been built around this floor, along the slope on the plateau, in order to make that place useful. So a machi in a fort is very, very important for the fort. If a fort has got good machis, that means this fort cannot be easily conquered. So you can see the machi here, you can see the fort on top of the hill. Okay, so this particular fort, it had got two strong machis. And now, which were the machis? See here. See how the fort was and how the machis is. So one of these machis was the Zunjar machi. See, this is the Zunjar machi. And also there was another machi called as the Budla machi. So you can see how it was, anyone who wanted to climb up and come here had to come, and they had to pass these places which the soldiers would then guard. Alright, and it offered powerful defense against the enemy. These machis would offer powerful defense against the enemy. And the only access to the fort was across this particular machi, that is the Zunjar machi. It was a very difficult passage with high hills on one side and deep valleys on the other. So you can see how it is situated. There are hills on one side and there is a deep valley on the other side. See, the valley is on this side and the hill is on this side. So if you try to climb from here, and if you are a little careless, what will happen? Your leg will slip and you will fall into the deep valley and you will die. So that is the importance of these machis, and that is why Torna was considered as one of the strongest forts in Maharashtra. And that was the reason Shivaji Maharaj had his eyes set on the Torna fort. Okay, so in the fort there was also a temple of the goddess Toranzai. So there's this temple, you can see it is there even today, and this is how the temple looks like from inside. And which is the reigning goddess of this temple? It is goddess Toranzai. And that is why, because of the name of the goddess, the fort was also called as Torna. Now, like I told you, this fort was under the control of Adil Shah. But somehow, because of some strange reason, Adil Shah was neglecting this fort. That is, he was not paying too much attention to this fort. There were no troops for his defense. Okay, he had not appointed any soldiers here in order to defend the fort. Also, he was not providing any kind of ammunition. Ammunition means what? Gola bari, you can say, na, hatiyar, weapons. They also were not there. So if you want to protect the fort, you need to have troops there. You need to have soldiers there. Only then you will be able to protect the fort. Otherwise, how will you protect it? Now, there was nothing of this sort in this particular fort. And there were no troops also. So Adil Shah was neglecting this particular place. He was not paying much attention to this particular place. Now, Shivaji knew this very well. Okay, he understood that this is a place, this is the point, or this is a time that I should take advantage of. And that is when he decided to capture the fort and lay the foundation of the Hindvi Swaraj. So at this particular point, he decided to capture the fort. So all his eyes were on the Torna fort. And this was going to be his first conquest, his first step towards establishment of Swaraj. And if he succeeded at this particular step, then there was no stopping him. Okay, so he decided to capture this particular fort and lay down the foundation of Hindvi Swaraj. So that is why the fort of Torna and its history is very, very important. Then let us see how the drums of Swaraj began to sound. Okay, the drums of Swaraj means the echo that Swaraj is going to very soon be established. How that sound started moving, or the sound started, you can say a big word for this, reverberating in the ears of the people of Maharashtra. So now we all know that Shivaji Maharaj had very few Mavlas with him, but these few Mavlas were equal to hundreds of soldiers. So, with a few select bands of Mavlas, Shivaji descended into the Kannad valley. And now, if you look at the picture of Shivaji Maharaj, you will see that he was still very young. Okay, he was not a very aged or a very matured person. He was still a very young person. And these Mavlas, they were swift footed like the deer and lion hearted in courage. So, you know how the deer are? They move very fast, they move very quickly, and they have a lot of speed also. So, these people, they were swift footed like the deer, but they were not delicate like the deer. Okay, they were not frightened like the deer. They were not timid like the deer. They were lion hearted in courage. So, they had the heart of a lion. Okay, they raced to the top and captured the strategic positions in the fort. So, whichever the important positions, those positions they captured in the fort. Tanaji Malusare hoisted the Maratha flag at the main entrance. So, you can see Tanaji Malusare standing there saying Shivaji Maharaj ki jai. And that is how the Swaraj, the process of Swaraj, or the, you can say the wheel of Swaraj, set rolling. Okay. Then you will also see that there were many other people also who helped Shivaji Maharaj. Yasaji Kank was a trustworthy and loyal companion of Shivaji Maharaj, and he posted his guards at important points inside the fort. Okay, and it was captured without any resistance because there was no one there already. Adil Shah had ignored this place, there was no one there, and the sky was filled with shouts of Shivaji Maharaj ki jai. So people were just simply rejoicing. Okay, they were so happy that now finally Shivaji Maharaj was going to start the process of Swaraj. So everywhere people were shouting Shivaji Maharaj ki jai, and the first battle drums and the pipes of Hindvi Swaraj had sounded, and their echo reverberated throughout the valley. And Shivaji Maharaj named this fort as Prachandgarh. Prachandgarh. Prachand means big, huge. Okay, Vishal we say na. So he named this as Prachandgarh. Okay, so this was the story of Torna. This was the story of how Shivaji Maharaj embarked on his journey towards Swaraj. Okay, now let us discuss just one more point, and then we will continue with the lesson in the next video. So the next point that we will see is how goddess Bhavani blessed Shivaji. So how did she bless Shivaji? The very first blessing was that yes, he was able to get the Torna under his control without too much difficulties. Now after that, when the fort of Torna, it came under Shivaji's administration, he made a very careful survey of it, and he appointed officers very carefully. Like for example, there was the fort keeper. Okay, he was called as the Kiledar. So Kiledar is like a security person for the fort. Alright, then there was a Brahmin administrator. So the person who would look after the work of the fort. That he was a Brahmin administrator, and he was called as the Sabnis. And then there was a Prabhu Karkhanis. That is, Karkhanis means he used to do the work of maintaining the treasury, looking after the money. Alright, so you can even see Shivaji Maharaj in this particular picture also over here. He was quite young. Alright, so this person also would help. So he distributed the work so that the work would be done very well. Okay, and then there was a garrison officers. Garrison officers means a group of officers which included the Mavlas, the Kolis, the Ramoshis, the Mahars, and many brave men from different castes and communities. So see, Shivaji Maharaj saw to it that the Marathas were included, the Prabhus were included, the Brahmins were included, and all the possible castes of people who were staying there, they had representatives in running the fort. This is how Shivaji Maharaj managed to win over the hearts of people. Okay, and in Swaraj, all castes and communities were to be treated alike, and no distinctions would be made on the basis of caste. So, this is what Shivaji Maharaj had thought in the very beginning, that he will not make any discrimination, he will not discriminate people on the basis of their caste or their religion. You know, in Hinduism, we have this caste system where some people are Brahmins, some people are Kshatriyas, then we have the Shudras, etc. And these people, they do not socialize with each other, they do not mingle with each other too much. Okay, they try to stay separate away from each other. But Shivaji Maharaj tried to bring all these people together. He tried to unite the people so that they could all together fight for their Swaraj. And now the fort was very neglected, I told you. So now Shivaji Maharaj had to see that there would be some kind of repairs would be undertaken towards the fort. The fort had to be repaired. So as the repair started, see, people are, what are they doing? They are trying to dig up and they're trying to fortify, they're trying to make the fort stronger. Okay, so because this was the first fort which Shivaji Maharaj had captured, so as the repairs to the fort started, a surprise awaited the people. And what was the surprise? They discovered 4 metal pots which were filled to the brim with mohars. Mohars means gold coins. Can you see? They were filled. There were 4 big metal pots in which people used to store water, but these metal pots here, they were filled to the brim with gold coins. So the workers were overjoyed. Overjoyed means they were very happy. Alright, and they said that this was a gift to Shivaji from goddess Bhavani, who had blessed his efforts. That is what they said, that Shivaji Maharaj has got the full blessings of goddess Bhavani. They took it as a good omen, they took it as a good sign that before work started, before Shivaji started establishing Swaraj, on the first step itself, he got so much of wealth. Okay, and all the money discovered was brought to Shivaji. Now see, not a single person from that group thought about taking anything for himself. Why? Because they knew that after all that, they knew that it was wealth was for the sake of Swaraj. Okay, they knew that even if they give all this money to Shivaji, he will never use it for his personal gain. He will all use it for Swaraj. So Shivaji felt greatly happy at this unexpected gift which would help him in order to pursue the ideal of Swaraj. Because anything you want to do, you first need money, isn't it? So he was very, very happy, and he really felt that goddess Bhavani was blessing him. So he utilized part of the treasure that he found in the fort to purchase arms and ammunition. The rest he decided to use for another project which was already in his mind. So he would not rest. After he achieved one thing, he would not rest. Okay, his mind continuously went on working. Now about 15 kilometers to the east of Torna was the hill of Murumdev, and there they had the Murumdev fort also, which was again an Adil Shahi fort. Now Shivaji Maharaj had his eye on this particular fort also for a long time. So you see how he started working relentlessly towards achieving Swaraj. So this was one part of the lesson, children. The remaining part of the lesson, we will do it next time when I bring you the next video, because I do not want to put videos which are too long, because you will get bored watching them. Alright, so now it is good to have these videos which are short also, and you will understand it also, and your interest also will be there. Okay children, so when I come back next time, we will do the remaining part of this lesson. So children, now you have watched the video. So after you watch the video now, you will have to complete a few simple tasks. Now you might have watched the video on your computers or your laptops or your mobile phones. Now, after you watch the video, what will you do? You will please go to the description box which is given below the video. So, what is the description box? See, the description box looks like this. Alright, and after you go to the description box, you will see that there are a few questions there. Now, what are these questions about? These questions are about the lesson that we just learned or the video that you just watched. So, what will you do? You will think back properly about the lesson and you will try and answer these questions and note down the answers in your notebook if you want. Okay? After that, we have another task waiting. You will also click on the link which you will find in the description box to fill up the Google form. So now, what is the Google form, children? It is nothing but a simple form. There are a few simple questions there about the video which you just saw and also about yourself. So these are the tasks now that you will have to complete after you watch each video. So children, wasn't that a very interesting lesson? I'm sure you learned a lot of new things in this lesson. If you have liked this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my video so that you will get to see all the videos which I keep posting regularly.